I went to Little Amerricka this summer as an adult roller coaster enthusiast. This is a review from that perspective, not from a kid going to Randy's birthday party. I expected that kid's birthday venue vibe from this park, and that was the vibe that I got, but I was delightfully surprised by a little bit of just a lot of delightful weirdness. There's a lot of weirdness, along with a dusting of classic amusement park on top. And those two things are my shit, so let's go! The Little Amerricka website outlines the park pretty well. Our unique park features restored rides from classic amusement parks of a bygone era. Yes, yeah, it is unique. In fact, you may be asking why America was spelled this way. The reasoning behind the odd spelling is that the park was founded by Lee Merrick. Naming this park Little Amerricka is a choice that Lee Merrick made because Lee Merrick chose chaos that day. Personally, I didn't want to go to this park alone or just with anybody. This is a park that I felt I should visit with another coaster enthusiast out of concern that it would be essentially just a kids section. However, that's not entirely the case here, but I still wouldn't really enjoy this park the same if I was alone. I recommend that you go to this park with other credit-thirsty enthusiasts, and you will have a time here. If you're not a miserable, jaded enthusiast, you will likely have a good time here. Also, it is very worth mentioning that my visit here was brief and only to ride the 4 roller coasters. We rode every roller coaster in Wisconsin that day, excluding Zip and Pippin. We had 4 stops and time was not exactly on our side. So let's see what's up with Little Amerricka. Little Amerricka makes a pleasant first impression. The entrance sign is modest and lined with trees. This sign is framed by its backdrop of the monorail, serving as the first bit of weird. Instantly, I noticed that the monorail has individual 4-person cars rather than a train. That's super weird, and you already have my attention, Little Amerricka. Little Amerricka does not charge for general ticket admission, but instead charges for ride wristbands. As a family park populated with many children's attractions, Little Amerricka's wristband system features 4 options revolving around the height of the patrons. This amusement park is very small, by far the smallest outdoor park that I have ever been to. As a result, the theme park layout is very easy to navigate, but most things seem to have been placed wherever they fit at the time. The main area of the park consists of a lot of concrete that resembles a fairgrounds. As you head towards the south end of the park, the main area narrows into a path. This path leads you towards the go-karts, haunted house, bumper boats, and picnic areas. The north side of the layout has the Swiss Toboggan roller coaster towards the west, and the small kids section towards the east. But we can talk about the rest of the park later. This was a coaster credit stop, and it's time to talk about the roller coasters. Serving as a centerpiece of Little Amerricka is Meteor, a junior-sized wooden coaster by Philadelphia Toboggan Coasters. In 1953, Meteor first operated under the name Little Dipper at Kittytown in Norridge, Illinois. After Kittytown's closure, Little Dipper was purchased by Hillcrest Park, a private picnic park in Lamont, Illinois. There it operated from 1967 to 2003 upon the park's closure. After being purchased by Little Amerricka, Little Dipper opened under its current name Meteor in 2007. Meteor is a small piece of Illinois and PTC history. This Little Dipper from Kittytown was a mirror of the Little Dipper at Kittyland in Melrose Park, Illinois. The Little Dipper currently operating at Six Flags Great America. So Meteor is a mirror of Little Dipper at Six Flags Great America and has a very similar past. These Little Dipper Junior PTCs honestly don't do much for me. I get more out of Woodstock Express at Kings Island. But all 4 of these coasters are intended for children, so my criticisms of forces and intensity pretty much belong in the trash. Kids like these rides. I just feel that most kiddie coasters have a little more to them than this. It looks cool though. Anyways. Mad Mouse is a rare wild mouse roller coaster by the defunct Alan Herschel Company. Manufactured in 1960, it's a bit of a mystery to me all of the places this specific coaster has been. Little Amerricka purchased Mad Mouse by auction upon the closure of Seven Peaks Water Park Duneland in Porter, Indiana. At one point in time, dozens of these Alan Herschel wild mice were out there. If you are looking for a permanently installed instance of this coaster, it seems that you are limited to 2 options these days. The other Mad Mouse is located in Arnold's Park Park in Iowa. These coasters really are from a bygone era, and they are fascinating to me. First of all, this car has no restraint. This car has no seat belts. There is an out-of-reach bar with an orange pool noodle taped around it, and I'll come right out and say it. I was a little nervous on Mad Mouse at Little Amerricka. Going against all logical reasoning, having no restraint is naturally concerning. Heading up the lift hill, I was holding onto the side rails of the car and just feeling geeked about the whole thing. The initial turns at the top are pretty standard Fun Wild Mouse turns, increasing in speed with the gradually sloped track. Then all of that Wild Mouse stuff gets thrown out, and Mad Mouse picks up the pace into what feels more like a standard traveling fair coaster. A good traveling fair coaster. At this point in the ride, we have wide banked turns, bigger dips, and a wide unbanked turn. This turn packs a sustained lateral force in opposition to the abrupt and brief U-turns early on in the ride. Whereas Meteor felt like a nothing ride to me, Mad Mouse packs a few forces into its elements. They weren't strong forces, but the lack of a restraint bar built a feeling of anticipation around every corner. Especially around the last corner when I was met with the sight of bunny hills. I was not so sure about those bunny hills. Thankfully, these bunny hills ended up having the illusion of airtime without actually lifting me out of my seat. No, I did not want to get airtime in this car. So yeah, I appreciate Mad Mouse. It's comfortable, it's fun, and the element of anticipation is really strong when nothing besides gravity keeps you inside the car. Mad Mouse is a weird, rare credit, and I love that in a coaster. On top of that, it has a positive ride experience. It's a shame that we have lost so many of these.
There's an endangered species right there.
Holy shit, you guys. Swiss Toboggan. What a strange and profound experience this was. As a traveling coaster, a few of these have circuited fairs in recent years, but you don't know when or where they will surface, and they're becoming increasingly rare to find. Swiss Toboggan at Little Amerricka is the last remaining permanent installation of the incredibly unique toboggan coaster model by Chance Rides. Little Amerricka's Swiss Toboggan dates back to the 1960s, where it operated at Dogpatch, USA as Earthquake McGoon's Brain Rattler. That is the real name. Holy shit, you guys! Swiss Toboggan! This extremely weird roller coaster ascends a vertical lift hill inside of a tube that functions as a support for a long downward helix. The remainder of the layout consists of a few bunny hills and 2 turnarounds. Before boarding the ride, I had an incredible experience in a station in the form of a long, stern warning from the ride op. We were warned by the ride op that this ride hurt them many times before they realized what they were doing wrong. Don't tighten up. Relax your muscles, and lower your head before the drop after the helix, or else it will collide with the roof of the car. Wait, what? He told us, this ride has been accident-free this year and we want to keep it that way. Don't be an asshole or you will get yourself seriously injured. I don't let assholes ride this ride. This was a dead serious warning, and it was very hard to hold back my laughter at, I don't let assholes ride this ride. But I do see why we were warned. It is really a miracle that adults are allowed to ride this. This car is extremely small and blocks off riders from reaching the many clearance issues that would be present without its restricting walls and ceiling. Upon boarding, the top half of the car is closed on top of you. Attached is an awkward large bar that dug into my chest. I had to raise my shoulders to put my arms over this bar while I hunched underneath the roof. My legs were stretched outwards due to the low seats. Everything about my position in this car felt extremely awkward, to say the least. But heading up the vertical chain lift made this completely worth it. I really enjoyed the peculiar view going up the large steel pipe. It was a little surreal. I was really gripping onto the, chest bar during the tight turn at the top. A lot of people assume that the helix is bad, but there was nothing wrong with it. I thought it was fun, definitely a more dizzying helix due to its small radius. I felt myself getting really dizzy, so I found a focus point, and then I was just fine. Then, the dreaded drop that we were all warned about. This was a fairly strong pop of ejector airtime. Watch this person lift out of their seat if you don't believe me. Despite crouching in my seat, I still felt my head touch the padding of the ceiling. This was no joke. From this point forward, the ride is just pure jank. I am into jankiness on weird roller coasters. I'm being serious when I say that Swiss Toboggan has totally won me over. I strongly recommend the experience, but I do think that you should approach it with caution. Most adults do not fit very safely into this roller coaster, and that is my warning for you. This is one of my favorite weird coasters. Swiss Toboggan was one of the most amusing coasters coasters that I have ever ridden.
There's an endangered species right there.
I've never had the opportunity to ride an Alan Herschel Little Dipper before. It's cool how this coaster circles around 3 small flat rides. Yeah, I don't have much to say, so this will be brief. Little Dipper has a bit of a mysterious history, having been purchased from a private owner that intended to build it on their own property. The coaster was in very poor condition, and Little Amerricka put a lot of effort into refurbishing this classic coaster. Going up the lift hill, you are met with the grim view of the graveyard, located directly behind the park. Death awaits us all, kids. Have a fun ride! The hills are janky, yay more jankiness, and the trains are big steel bins. It gets the job done as a kid's coaster. To me, it was just mildly amusing at best. I still enjoy experiencing a piece of roller coaster history, so there is that. So let's talk a little bit more about the operations at this park. Little Amerricka is a retro park, and as such, lacks some of the safety measures found in modern parks. It would be extremely easy to climb up Meteor, seeing as there's no fence stopping anybody from approaching it, and this coaster is very low to the ground. Train track populates walking areas without warning or being sectioned off in any way. Remember that Mad Mouse does not have any form of restraints. All things considered, I did not feel unsafe here, and I have not found any reasons to. A local news story aired in 2018 featuring a dozing off ride op that may or may not have been inebriated. The park responded to this by firing this employee and otherwise has a fairly clean record.
Out of the 9 investigations, only 1 showed the, quote, incident was possibly caused by a violation. The owner had already made the necessary changes, so no orders were issued.
So Little Amerricka has the charm of being a little rough around the edges without actually being sketchy. This about sums up my visit, but Little Amerricka does have more than meets the eye and is an interesting park that merits more time to be spent with it. Little Amerricka is renowned for its 2-mile-long train ride, Whiskey River Railway. This train extends far beyond the park grounds and into the Wisconsin countryside. I would also like to try Test Pilot, the Rolloplane Flat Ride, the monorail, and mini golf have my attention too. And you'll never guess who I found on the Tilt-A-Whirl.
On the Tilt-A-Whirl? It's Mario! It's him! It's the guy! You got the pizza! And the mushrooms! The fight! It's him!
So overall, I rate Little Amerricka as charming. And I also give it a, hey, that's nice. Swiss Toboggan made the visit worth it alone for me, and Mad Mouse was pretty cool too. More and more, I find myself enjoying these small classic amusement parks. The big parks are doing more than fine this year. These are the parks that we need to be supporting more, so head on over to Little Amerricka. Go there, right now. This has been Zero Credits Remaining, reminding you all to not be an asshole. I don't let assholes watch my videos. If you need me, I'll be asleep at the graveyard next door. Good night.